2, 1, I'm live. Hey everybody, welcome to to Destination Decluttered, the Valentine's edition. All you need is love. Oh, my FM radio voice, I crack myself up. Do you crack yourself up? You should crack yourself up. So I am Beth. I am the decluttering life coach from Destination Decluttered. I call my coaching Destination Decluttered because I freaking love to travel, and I, for decades, have gone on road trips. And I realized, not too late, good morning, Rhonda. I realized how much easier it is to get to where you want to go to in your life when you think of your life as a road trip. And so that's what I do, and I help other people do that too with one-on-one coaching. And I am here today because one of the things that I love to do, and I know for some of you you're going to be like, oh my God, that's what she likes to do, is I like to help people create order out of chaos. So if I see a messy room, instead of going, ugh, I go, ooh, like, let's figure this stuff out. So, excuse me, I want to put a little, I got a little thing here. It's so funny. Anyhow, I am here because I help people like you. I help you. If you're struggling with clutter and stuff and your house is kind of like all over the place, this is what I excel at. As I said, I love helping people not only get their clutter under control, because that's just half of it. This is why I call myself the decluttering life coach, because you can get a house that's all nice and tidy and neat and stuff like that, but still be like meh about your life. And what I am kind of rabid about is minimizing the amount of time that you have to spend cleaning your room, as I used to have to do all the time when I was a little kid, because I grew up in a crazy cluttered household. But then you minimize the time that you're doing your cleaning and organizing so that you can maximize the time that you're not doing that to do the things you want to do in the one life you have on the planet. All right? Life is short, people. Life is short, and so am I. So anyhow, oh, that's right. I've been doing these for a past week. It's been really fun helping people. So if you have questions about your clutter and stuff, please know that if you are struggling with something, somebody else may be struggling with it too. So when you ask your question, you can also be inadvertently helping other people with what you're struggling with. Now, I will admit I have a bit of ADHD, which I love. I love how my brain works, and I love that I have been able to design a system design systems that work for how my brain works. Okay, so if I can do it for me, I can do it for you. And what I will say is, okay, how do you start? Starting can also feel like overwhelm. I don't even know when to start. So who said that? Louise. This is what I want to offer to you. And this is why I love that I can always come back to why I call my coaching Destination Decluttered. So here's what I want to offer to everybody who is watching this right now. And also, just so you know, if you're not able to stay for the whole long length of time that I'm here, or you want to be inspired later, I figured out how to download these videos and upload them to the Destination Decluttered YouTube page. So you can also go over there and listen to it and share it with your friends, okay? So here's what I want to offer about getting started. Pretend your life is like a road trip. Like I said that earlier. This is what I do. Is if you think about it, you don't even start driving on a road trip. See, this is you where you are, and you're in your little car, and my big old head is always messing it up, and this is your destination. So before you even start decluttering, get an idea. Oh, thank you, Melanie Evans, for subscribing to my YouTube channel. I just got a message about that. What a cool way to start the day. Decide where you're going and why you want to get there. Now, if you think about it, the flavor, the feeling when you're on a road trip in your car, right, is a hell of a lot different than when you are driving to a job you hate on a commute. Am I right? Am I right, people? I'm right, because I've been in both times where you're at point A and you're driving somewhere, point B. Now, if you're not psyched about point B, the whole time it's going to seem like a slog. You're going to be resentful. You're going to be bitchy. Like, okay, I'm just speaking from personal experience, all right? So going from my here I am, and I have to go to work. Have to. Notice I said have to go to work, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't even. So the journey from here to work sucks, and then when I get there, I'm like, meh, right? Versus road trip. And I'm always using the analogy of pretending that I can, and I still can do it if I want, but like I'm here in my life, and I wanted to instead take a road trip to Palm Springs, California. I love Palm Springs, California. I love the design. I love the weather. I have some awesome people in my life there. Like, there's just so much of it that lights me up that if I was getting on the road to go to someplace I love, not only is my heart all excited before I even freaking take a step, but that energy, that excitement of being so excited about where I'm going is going to fuel me, especially when I hit bumps in the road, when it gets boring, when I hit, deserts and potholes and detours and stuff like that. See how the metaphor of taking your life like a road trip and being in a car takes the drama out of it, okay? So this is where I want to offer is before you even start decluttering, just think about how you want your home, how you want your life to look and feel. And really get clear on that. When I do consultations with people, one of the things I love doing is giving them a bit of an example of how I coach. And one of the things I do is we kind of close our eyes, take a couple of deep breaths. I'm all about closing my eyes and taking a couple of deep breaths. You guys, if you take one thing away from this thing, is that closing your eyes, calming your Las Vegas nerve, as I like to call it, that will be a game changer, especially when your thoughts tend to spin faster than you can keep track of them, okay? But I love to say, imagine that you are at a drive-in movie theater, again, because I'm all about the car culture, and you realize that the movie on the screen is your wonderful life, the life ahead of you, through the windshield. See what I did there? And fall in love with that life you can have and start driving towards it. So decide why you're doing it. If you're doing it because I have to, somebody's making me, I'm resentful, I'm losing my stuff, somebody's making me get rid of my stuff, who the heck wants to do that? But if you're like, you know what, I'm going to lighten my load. I'm going to get rid of the stuff I don't care about. I'm going to get rid of, metaphorically and physically, the stuff in my life that no longer works for me, so that I have room for the stuff that does. Okay? Okay. Savvy Mom says, and thank you for the comments, so hopefully that helps. How do I, and I love this, thank you Savvy Mom too, because I get to show one of my little things. Shit, where did I put it? Oh, here it is. From when I coach people. Here's a wonderful tip, and again, I love the fact that I can use the metaphors that we already know in our lives. I could talk about chakras and energy systems and things like that, and then I always do this, and then I end up, I crack myself up. I'm always like catching myself doing things and making myself laugh. But here's what I want to offer. So everybody, if you are struggling with, should I stay or should I go now, as the Clash would say, Gen X, pop culture is my second language. This is what, okay, the deciding of what to keep, donate, or throw away causes your overwhelm. I love chunking down the overwhelm into actionable steps, because overwhelm is what keeps you stuck. Getting past the overwhelm, having a tool in your toolkit to make yourself cut down the overwhelm helps you. So what I talk about, and here, I was doing some coaching recently, so my thing is here. All right. Cool thing is, you can imagine it. You have an imagination. So when you're at a stoplight in your car, and there's the three lights, right? You've got the red, you've got the yellow, and you've got the green. Okay, so this is how I decide what to keep, donate, or throw away. And I would love to share this metaphor with you too, because it's a keeper. Every time you're at a red light or a green light or a yellow light, you'll be like, oh, I know what this is. So instead of having the red on top, what I like to do is flip it, because I like to think of the green light. The green that means verdant, it means growth, it means good stuff, it means go. Like the green light is moving forward. That's your heart. Okay, so here's how I decide, is I use the three colors of the traffic lights in my body. Green is I love it. It's lighting me up. You can even tell by the way I'm using my voice that this thing that I love so much is right here. Okay, so that's the stuff you probably want to keep. When you look at it and you immediately get in touch with yourself and be like, how do I feel when I look at that thing? So you could be green, I love that thing, or opposite. Opposite is red. Red is stop. Red is ugh. Red is down in your body. If we're putting the traffic lights here, traffic signals, red is like basically near your poop chute. Okay, that's the stuff, physically, metaphorically, you want to get rid of. Okay, that's the stuff that it's like trash. It's broken. It's worn out. When you look at it, you go, ugh. Oh my God, that thing, it tells me a bad story. So you've got green light, yay! Red light, poop shoot, meh. And then the middle. The middle is where usually coaching comes in. And I'm not going to say you need to do coaching with this, but what I will offer is you can self-coach yourself with this. And I'm going to give you the tools to do that right now, which is yield. Yield. You don't know if you be stepping on the gas or moving forward. Have a conversation with the stuff that you're kind of like, I don't know what I should do with that. It's because the thing is telling you a story. It's telling you a story that's not as easy as I love it, I hate it. It's complicated, as they would say on like Facebook, right? So listen to the story that item is telling you. And because you have decided what you want your life and your current life and your future life to look and feel like, see if that story jives with what you want your life to look and feel like. And if it doesn't, it's okay. You can remove it from your life. You can pass it along. You can donate it to somebody. You can give it to somebody who can sell it, right? So Savvy Mom 2, if all you did right now is say, I'm going to start with, and I talk about, this is another tip from when I coach, and I love sharing this with people because it gives you a flavor of what it's like to have the one-on-one coaching with me. I'm going to offer this to you guys too, is there are 3 levels of clutter in your house, okay? Oh, thank you for the rose. There's 3 levels of clutter. You've got surface clutter on the top, on the surface. You've got stored clutter. So stored clutter would be like in my room right here. Like there's stuff behind the door of the closet. Like my room looks clean. My closet could be a freaking mess. You don't know it because it's stored. Stored clutter could also be my little train cases back there. I store things in those. And it's not all mishmashy. I have it organized, right? So there's surface that's on any kind of horizontal surface, from your floor to your tables, to your counters, to your bureaus, to your shelves, anything like that. But then there's sentimental clutter. And oftentimes the stuff that you really, takes you a lot of emotional energy and a lot of paying attention to stuff that make you feel feelings that you maybe are afraid to feel is the stuff that is in the yellow section. So if all you ever did right now was start with the stuff that you know is trash and you want to get rid of, you would have cut your clutter in thirds practically. Okay. So start with the easy stuff, work up to it. Like, doing crunches, like build your decision making, build your intuition for what works right for you, build your muscle. Don't start with the hard stuff. Don't go to the gym the first day and try to like bench press a kajillion pounds. Start small and begin to trust yourself that you are making decisions that are aligning with what you want your life to look and feel like. Now, do you see why I call myself the decluttering life coach? Because it's not just about having a clean house. If you have a clean house and you're miserable, that sucks. If you have a messy house and you're miserable, that sucks. What I love is that alignment of nice, neat, tidy house, basically for you. So you can look around and say, what a nice little tidy house I have. I can find everything I want. I can open up the doors to my friends or a random person who comes and I want to invite them in. I don't have to be like, as one of my clients would say, I don't have to have chaos. Can't have anyone over syndrome. How awful is it that there's something like that so many people obviously deal with, that they had to create an acronym that's kind of funny but kind of sad. All right? So I hope that helps. So that's how to decide whether to keep, donate, or throw away. And let me just take a wicked quick look here because I want to give you the visual. I am such a visual learner. It's not even funny. That's why I have maps and stuff like that. Oh, wait, here we go. Check it out. Found it. See, look. See? Yay! Ugh. Or did I say meh? Meh. Don't even care about it. Get rid of it. Well, it's kind of a story behind that one. Somebody gave it to me and I don't really like it, but I feel guilty because it was a gift. Or, well, that was my grandmother's china and I don't really like it, but it was my grandmother's. Those are the stories, okay? Now, I'm going to let you all know. This is what happens. I've learned doing these TikTok lives is I am going to try to scroll through the questions, but sometimes they go swoosh past me and sometimes I miss them. So I want to offer this. First of all, I'm going to take a sip of my tea. If somehow I miss your question, it is not like I'm skipping over it purposefully, unless you're just a total rando person coming in and just trying to mix things up, then I will be ignoring you. But what I want to offer is if I somehow miss your question, do not take it personally. I did not skip over it intentionally. Sometimes they all go past and I'm not able to get them all. But what I will say is this. If you had a question and that when you listen to this, I didn't answer it, please. On TikTok, there's a way that you can send me a message. So send me a message and say, hey, this was my question. And I can do a video that addresses that. Because honestly, I've been doing these for, I swear, like maybe a week, 10 days. And what I have learned is that, and this is wonderful, I want to let you know and reassure you that you are not alone if you're struggling with stuff and clutter. So many people are. And I know this because I coach people one-on-one on Zoom all the time. And also, when people show up on these TikTok lives, different people are kind of coming across me every day. It's like randomness on TikTok. I don't know how you find me, but if you are here and you're struggling with your stuff and clutter, you're in the right place. What I want to offer is I am often answering the same questions over and over again, but it's to different people. To me, I know I'm answering the same question. It may be brand new to you, but it's not to me. But I say that because I want to reassure you that if you think you're the only person who's struggling with something, I can almost guarantee you are not. That there is a generation, there are generations of us folks on the planet that are struggling with too many items in our houses, and we brought them into our lives thinking they were going to light us up, and what they're ending up doing is weighing us down. And as I used to say back in the day, I'm like, Maud Betty ain't got time for that. So let's get rid of what drags you down so that you can feel a little bit lighter and a little bit freer and a little bit calmer and in control of your life, okay? So that was my long-winded way of saying I'm going to see whatever questions I have here. Yep, see, there they go. Whoosh. Okay, actually, here's a really good one because I'm just about to do this myself. So who was this? Erica Marie says, I have a lot of makeup, bath and body products, and color street sets. No, I'm not sure where the color street set is because, as you can tell, I don't wear a lot of makeup. But what I want to offer you is this. First of all, the shelf life for makeup seems wicked short, right? So even if you keep it for a while, it could seriously, physically begin to change, get clumpy and crumbly and stuff like that. The other thing I want to offer is if it's bath and body products, use them. Use them every day. Treat every day like it's your own Valentine's Day. Do you want to smell good? You want to scrub your skin and get it all nice? Use those things. Do not save anything for a special occasion. Life. Ooh, this could be like a t-shirt. Life is a special occasion. All right? Use the good dishes. Eat the good food. Wear the good clothes. Life is a special occasion. So use your bath and body products every freaking day. Do not save them because also physically they decompose. And then the other thing I want to offer too is this will also apply, heads up everybody, this will also apply to anything that you have purchased, you have paid money for, that after you bought it, you realized it doesn't work for you, but you're holding on to it because you paid money for it. Now, this will apply specifically in this situation to makeup, and I have a wonderful example right in front of me, literally, so how funny is it that the universe is having a field day with this? But anything that you've purchased and you're hanging on to it because you feel guilty about getting it out of your life because you paid money for it. So I often will conjure up the words of Seth Godin when he has this, he says a lot of smart things, but one of the things that always stuck with me because it's small and memorable is ignore the sunk costs. So if you bought something and it's not working out for you, in order to move on, you have to come to terms with, you have to be okay with saying, I know I spent the money on it, but it's not working with me. I'm going to release it. Like if you went to school to be a lawyer and then you realized after you became a lawyer, you're like, I really don't want to be a lawyer. Don't stick with it simply because, oh, what happened there? Don't stick with it simply because you spent all that money on your education. If you ignore the sunk costs, and here's my riff on it, ignore seems kind of like an issue. What did I say? Release. Release yourself from the sunk costs and just know that throughout your life, you are going to buy things you hope are going to improve your life. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. And hanging on to them won't suddenly turn them into, oh, suddenly this color works well for me. Suddenly my entire, thing has changed. So be okay with saying, I thought it was going to work and it didn't. That's okay. And just get it out of your life because then you've made that decision and now you've freed yourself up to know better. So I will give you, just because we're talking about makeup, and I rarely wear it, but I will offer you this. So I bought this. This is so funny. I don't even know why it's on I do know why it's on my desk, but anyhow. I bought this the other day because I realized when I'm doing lives and even when I'm with myself, if I wear like lipstick or chapstick that gets on my mug, and it sticks there, it just looks gross to me, and I'm always wiping it off. So I wanted some long stay lipstick. And I bought this one, and in the store, I thought it looked good and whatever. And then the other day, I went to put it on, and you see how I have this pink in my glasses, right? So I put this on, and then I realized that this is much more orange than what I want. I want something that kind of coordinates with my glasses because I have to wear my glasses all the time. And so I realized, I was like, you know what? This doesn't work. It's suddenly not going to not work. I have it here to remind myself to get one that has more of like a pinky cool hue to coordinate with this. So here's the cool thing too. If the Erica Marie, if you have makeup and stuff that you're not using, ask yourself why you're not using it and learn something from it. Oh, that stuff is too powdery. Oh, that color doesn't look good on me. You'll know that you want to find colors that look better, that aren't those colors. You want to know that you want to find something that's a little bit smoother. Now, I don't wear a lot of makeup, so I can't talk the makeup language, but that's basically the thing, is just remember, with anything, if anybody here, I'm telling y'all, if anybody here is hanging on to something because you feel guilty, because you spent good money on it, and it's not working out for you, life is too short. Stop making yourself feel guilty. You will never make your money back from it by hanging on to it longer. So pass it along. And here's what I want to offer about passing it along. Now, this doesn't count for makeup because makeup is personal and you get germs and stuff. Just throw that stuff away unless it's something that you bought recently and you can return it to a place that you return it. What I want to offer is this. What is it that I want to offer? I was going so well and then I fell off the tree. Passing it along. So here's what I want to offer to think about it, because oftentimes people think, oh, I'm leaving, like I'm this thing, I'm like throwing it away. This thing that I thought was going to work for me, I'm throwing it away. No, I am hell-bent on donating. And this is what I say, because for years, I pretty much furnished my house with items that I got at thrift stores. This is how I roll. I love doing that. I love collecting. I love looking at old stuff and finding like diamonds in the rough. And what I will say is this. The thing you're donating may not have worked out for you. Just imagine that there's somebody else on the planet right now who's going to find the thing you donated, and you are going to revolutionize their life because they found the thing that you are donating. I keep on thinking of this thing that's down in our basement that my husband still wants to use. So I'm like, okay. He wanted one of those like pressure cookers, those little like pressure cooker things, little small ones that were all the rage a couple of years ago. And so I got him one for Christmas because he likes to cook. Thank God, because I don't like to cook. And like we just don't. We made a couple of things, and I'm like, meh. Like the food that it makes just isn't what I like to eat, or we like to eat. But I said to him, okay, we'll do a few more things, but it doesn't work out for us. Think of somebody else who wants one of those things, and especially somebody who wants one but can't afford to buy it full price. If you donate it, you are allowing somebody who can't afford it new to buy it at a discount so that they can improve it. And maybe they will love all the foods that are made in that thing. Maybe they will be able to feed their family more inexpensively because they're buying the ingredients, the chicken and the stuff that you put into it. So think of, everybody here, think of the stuff that is dragging you down. When you release it, not only are you getting lighter, you are also helping somebody else access the stuff that right now is just sitting in your house in storage, okay? That was a long-winded conversation, but there are nuances behind this. And when you realize kind of the other stories behind, like, I just need an organized household because I have to be prepared in case House and Garden stops in and rings a bell, or I'm going to get in trouble if my house isn't clean. There are stories behind things. And when you click into the stories in your head as to why you're hanging on to things, and you can say, oh, okay, then you feel better about releasing it, and you're cool with it. You're not feeling like you are giving away something and losing something. You're gaining space. You're gaining knowledge about your life, what works and what doesn't. You're gaining space in your shelves. You're gaining space in your life for knowing yourself better and knowing you don't like gloppy food made out of a pressure cooker. And you're also knowing that you can be like the fairy godmother to somebody you don't even know, that you're delighting somebody who can find that thing. Okay? Hope that helps. What do we go? Okay. Best friend says, memories are not in things after my late husband passed. It helped me. Yep. It's so true. Like, we as humans will imbue the most random object with meaning. Like this mug, it was made in a factory. The only reason it has meaning to us is because it's a big mug and I like to use it. And my husband picked it out when we were on vacation someplace. He's a musician. We're both Beatles fans. So we keep it. So it has a nice memory. But in the end of the day, it is still just a mug. You know, if this reminded me if my husband passed, he would always live it on in my heart. He would never live in this mug. This mug would remind me of him. But if the mug broke, if I gave away the mug, I would not forget my husband. Okay, so just remember. Okay. So yes, notice the words we use when we are talking about our clutter and stuff. And I say this to the Erica Marie because yours is in front of me. It says, I feel like it's overtaking my bedroom. So here's another fun thing. And I make my coaching fun because I'm not going to show up to something that seems arduous and painful like math class or just something like an obligation. I want you to be excited about coaching with me. And so I make it fun, and I make it fun to entertain myself. Because all I do, and I love this, is I talk about clutter and stuff all day. So I try to make it different and interesting. And so what I want to offer to you guys is think about the words you use when you're describing how your clutter and your stuff makes you feel. It's overtaking my bedroom, right? What an ugly, that's a meh kind of ugh word. The opposite of overtaking my bedroom. You know what? How about the flip side? It's like it's overtaking my bedroom. You know what? I've got control of my bedroom. It's not even overtaking. It's over in that little, like, overtaking makes me think of like a plant that's kind of like taking over. No, it's like this cute little area that I've got the stuff that just what I need. So think of the opposite. If you're feeling ugh about your stuff, if you are feeling like red light, if you are feeling meh in your gut, being like, oh my God, I feel X, go to opposite land. That's what I call it when I do coaching. And think of what the opposite word is that would make you feel good about where you lived. And that helps you decide, that helps you define what your destination is. Okay? My dad saves every piece of mail he gets and makes piles all over the house help. Okay. So does my mother. We love them. They love them. We love them. We may not change them. Here's a couple of things you might want to offer to your dad. And this is the cool thing, because this is where you and I can play like good cop, bad cop. Because first of all, I will say to everybody, good cop, bad cop, be the good cop to yourself, okay? Come into anytime you're decluttering and anytime you're going to help somebody if they are cluttered, make sure your motives are clean. Make sure your heart is in the right place. Make sure you're not in a judgy place. If you are beating yourself up about your clutter, you're coming at it from a judgy place, and that ain't going to work. Have you ever really been motivated by what I call your backseat drivers talking shit about you? No, if anything, they make you feel worse, and that's their plan. They want to make you feel worse. So what I would say to your dad, if we were good cop, bad cop, because you could be like, you know what, Dad? I was on TikTok this morning, right? And I found this woman who does this thing called Destination Decluttered, and she's like this decluttering life coach. And she was given a couple of tips to somebody else, see, it's not about him, about how to manage your mail. So here are the tips that I am giving you for your dad, but to give to everybody, so he doesn't feel like he's being attacked. So first of all, creating a system for your mail in the overall is so good because you get peace of mind knowing exactly where your important mail is. So here's what I want to offer. When you first bring in your mail, and this is how you can help your dad with the piles, identify what is truly the junk mail. And I include, and this is a sticking point for me, is any of those charities that try to guilt you into donating to them because they show you a sad picture of a donkey, or they send you a nickel, or they even these are the things I found when I was helping my mother with her clutter, was like the envelope with all the address labels in them. I will never donate to a charity that makes me feel bad before I even open up their envelope. Do not play on my heartstrings, So any of that stuff, put in the recycle bin right away. The other thing too is when you do have the important mail, the very first thing you should do to just keep it so you're not losing it, take it out of the envelope, recycle the envelope. Take all the papers that aren't the bill. They give you those little shiny things and the little, pieces of paper that aren't worth anything. Recycle those too. And then put all the important papers in one basket that's in one specific place. That's all that is the home for the important papers, okay? That should help reduce the mail. And then you do that every day and you get it into a habit. And speaking of habits, I have a habit tracker that if you sign up, it sounds like an infomercial, but I just want to share it with you because I was thinking about it today. I have a habit tracker that when you sign up for my mailing list at destinationdecluttered.com/join. You get it automatically. It's like attached to the email you get. And it's like a little printed out thing. And of course, I've got my papers are all over the place. But it reminds you to do it every day. So you just get into the habit, okay? Yes, you have a teen who is very sensitive. I have learned to be very careful with your words when I help her. Yes, words. I mean, we used to say, what was it? You know, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. No, words can cut like a knife. And unlike Bryan Adams, it doesn't feel so right. So yeah, and be careful with your words when you use to yourself, okay? All right. I can't go into our cluttered room. I just hide in my one clean room. Can't cope. Okay. News 8, Chris, here's what I want to offer you. First of all, rock on with your bad self for having one clean room. Some people don't have any clean rooms. So the fact that you have one, rock on. The other thing is too, is if you cleaned that one room, other rooms in your house can be cleaned. I know that for a goddamn fact, Johnny. Okay? Here's what I want to offer to you. News 8, Chris, is I bet when you walk into any one of those cluttered rooms, you get a sense of overwhelm. Like, open the door. I can't even deal. So then you just shut the door again. And here's a lovely lesson for everybody, including you, is that feeling of overwhelm. That feeling of overwhelm, the solution to it is instead of looking at it too big, is looking at it small, is chunking it down into how can I start this? And there's a couple of ways that you can do this. Is you can literally just pick a theme. Remember earlier, you may not remember because I don't know when people are signing on, but I often talk about the 3 layers of clutter. You've got surface clutter, you've got stored clutter, and you've got sentimental clutter. So go into that room and set a timer on your phone for like 20 minutes and just start with the surface clutter. Trash goes in the trash, recycles goes in the recycles, and things that are in that room that don't belong there, put them in a pile to go back to the rooms that they belong. After 20 minutes, this is the great thing, and especially with my folks, myself included, with ADHD, who you're like, I don't have enough time, whatever, it's going to be boring. After the 20 minutes is over, high five yourself. Oh, here we go. I can show you my own daily decluttering thing, or my habit tracker. So this is the habit tracker you get when you sign up for me, with me. And you can check off, you can say, I showed up for 20 minutes and I decluttered, right? So, oh, awesome. Thank you for just joining my email list. You're going to love it. Oh, and next week, I'm doing a, what do you call it? A members only. I'm cracking myself up by calling it members only, like the jackets. A members only live Zoom next Tuesday. And it's only for people on my email mailing list. Now, it's funny. I got to be honest with you. Every time I start to get into that type of thing, it's not like I'm trying to be an infomercial. I'm just sharing with you that literally this is something I'm doing. And I feel honored that people trust me with their email address, because I know people can do that and they spam you, and I hate that. I mean, how funny would it be if as a decluttering coach, I then cluttered up your email box? That would be hysterical. So I only email you a couple of times, and it's usually just to be like, here's, like maybe 3 or 4 times a month, if that. And it's mainly to say, hey, here's the monthly Zoom that we do just for members. Okay. Oh, awesome. Rhonda, thank you for saying that I've already helped you so much. If there's anything else I can do, as I said, I show up here, I do these TikTok lives. Please like my page, because I think that helps get the word out to other people. I do videos every day, sometimes a couple of times a day, and these TikTok lives, I get my mailing list, and I do the one-on-one coaching where it's literally for an hour a week, you and me, and we do nothing but talk about your problems. Oh, thank you for the heart. I appreciate that. Oh, love my personality. Oh, I'm goofy me, but I love myself. And it's taken decades to say that out loud and to show up as exactly who I am. So if I can do it, you can too. Yeah, the timer. Yeah, no. You see, getting the whole room done, you're going to set yourself up for failure. And I refuse to set anybody up for failure, because I know that feeling. So if you chunk it on down, and even if it's a time thing, and here's where I love, again, because I talk about life like a road trip, okay? News 8, Chris, maybe this will help you too. And I know it's going to help everybody. When you are overwhelmed with anything, I should probably write a song about it, because it sounds like when you start at the very beginning. Oh my God, I just cracked myself up. Anyhow, when you're overwhelmed, it's like you're on a road trip and you want to go from the East Coast, where I am, to Palm Springs, California. You want to drive there, but you look at the entire overall view and you get bogged down. Like, what road am I going to take? I don't know. I might get a detour, blah. It's going to take you a while to get there, but this is what I want to offer. Think about it like a road trip, and Know that physically on a road trip, if you just start and you start driving in the direction of where you want to go, if I started today and I drove from my house in the direction of Palm Springs, California, I would make progress even in 20 minutes. Okay? And I will say this, that every time you show up, and you just have to keep on showing up and showing up and showing up. Now, I know that showing up and showing up at the beginning, you're all like, gung-ho, this is great. We look like a car commercial, wind in the hair and the music. Even road trips get kind of boring. But the thing is that if you're not excited about where you're going to go, you're going to give up. I've been there because I haven't been in love with where I'm aiming for. But you can slog through some boring things when you know that you are aiming for a life that you love how it looks and feels. And then when you get that kind of love in your heart for like your destination, I talk about the East-West thing when I talk about Palm Springs, California. I'm from New England, so I know what a crappy winter it is. Imagine if you were in crappy winter weather and you were driving to like Florida, like Disney. And you're like, I'm getting out of this weather. I'm getting out of from where I want to be. And I want to go to where it's warm and nice, especially in the winter. Like you would put up with a lot. You would drive through the boringness and you would show up and show up and show up until you got there, because you knew that when you got there, it was worth it. And that energy is like, I'm on my way. This is going to be so great. And you're enjoying even the crappy parts because you've got that feeling in your heart, that green feeling. I feel like Gallagher right here with all my little things. But you've got a green feeling in your heart because you have fallen in love with the life that you want to live and how you want your home and life to look and feel. Okay? Can't do anything exhausting and draining and all in one day. We all try to do it, and especially, again, my ADHD peeps, we know this. We always think, I need to wait till I have a big swath of time, and when I get in that manic kind of zone where I'm super productive, that hyper focus, I'm not saying don't channel that energy, but what I will say is if you only wait for that, you're going to be parked a lot until you get to that place, and also you are going to exhaust yourself. So think about it. How does it feel to be on a road trip and then drive 10 hours a day nonstop and you're not making any, you're not even stopping to pee? Like, how miserable is that journey towards where you want to go? Or you say, I'm going to show up and do a little bit at a time. And yeah, it may take me slightly longer, but I'm going to enjoy the drive. I'm going to enjoy feeling. I'm going to be able to do things, okay? Yeah, I believe in the fact that when the student is ready, that the teacher appears, because that has happened to me. I was listening to a podcast once and I heard an author talking about a self-help book, and the way she presented it cracked me up. I felt like I related to her, and what she was saying, like just the way she explained it made sense to me. It changed my life. And I realized that the best thing I could do once I kind of healed myself and got decluttered and started loving my life was to share what I learned for myself and present it in a way that may click with other people, And I want to offer that I do only show up as myself because it's the only person I am. And it would be disingenuous for me to show up as some corporate person with my headset on and because I don't like that stuff. And I show up as me because I want you to know what you get when you coach with me or when you follow me. This is how I show up. I get short hair. I show up in a t-shirt. But that has nothing to do with the quality of help and info I can share. And the thing that I love too is that I can share this stuff from my office right here. I can show it from, if you look at the other videos on YouTube that I've done, like I share it from my morning walk. I love to travel. So like I'm going to maybe do one of these, maybe one, we'll see, on my travels. So it doesn't matter what my background is. And it doesn't even matter. Here's another thing too that I want to make sure is I would love it for you, if you are listening to this right now, this is what I look like. This is what I'm going to do the whole time. It doesn't matter what I look like. So stop watching me. Start listening. Put down the phone. Get up from wherever you are. And even just in the time that I am on the screen here, get up and start dealing with some surface clutter. Putter around. Listen to me. Get inspired. Put trash in the trash, recycles in the recycles, and start making piles of stuff that doesn't belong in the room that you're in. And then when I sign off, boom, you're going to be that much farther along. Okay. Yes, so I see a couple of things going in. Yep, a little a day is progress at the end. Yes, thank you, Lula. This and that creation says it's important to figure out what is triggered being so cluttered. Amen, sister or brother. So true. And Kim, I really feel bad because I just saw your thing that says your house is like a hoarder and overwhelmed and it makes me more depressed. Now, here's what I want to offer to you. There's help out there. I can help you. What you need to do, if you want to, is to just start to heal yourself and know that you can make incremental progress. There is light at the end of the tunnel, okay? You weren't always like this, and having figured it when it goes downhill. Yes, see what I say? Oh, there you go. You're the first thing I saw on TikTok and watched you in the morning. Yeah, I'm glad. This is why I'm showing up in the morning. And I will have more of these live TikToks this week. Next week I'm traveling, so I like to have a flexible schedule, so I don't always show up consistently because that's how I have designed my life. I'm at the dealership with your car just listening, but love this. Oh my God, that's so great because you're getting your car fixed. You can think of your life as a car, and if there's something wrong with your car, you get it fixed. If there was something wrong with your life, you should get it fixed too. Cleaning your craft room already. Awesome. Okay, mother is a hoarder. Don't want to end up like that. All right, this is where I'm going to lovingly recommend to everybody here. First of all, yeah, let's break the chains of this whole being stuck and overwhelmed by stuff. There are previous generations who thought it was cool to buy a lot of things because it meant that you had accomplished something in life, that you had a job that had enough money, that you could buy the things, the outward signs of success. And what we've learned, I think all of us, is that doesn't mean just because you've got the stuff on the outside doesn't mean you're happy on the inside. The other thing too with parental clutter is not to be a downer. I'm just going to be realistic. When our parents pass away, whether we like it or not, we are going to have to deal with their stuff. So the sooner you practice and get better at the skills of decluttering and figuring out, making decisions about clutter, the easier it will be when you have to deal with their stuff. Now, that's not to say that you have to wait until they pass. Go to your parent with love in your heart and say, hey, I would love to help you with this. Are you struggling? Is there anything we can do? Make sure you're not going in a judgy zone. I'm not saying that you are. But make sure you're going in with compassion and love, knowing your parent is probably struggling with something, or else they wouldn't be overwhelmed by their own stuff, okay? See if you can help them. Ask if they want help. Don't be judgy. Do it with love. See if that works. If it doesn't, what you can do for yourself, all of a sudden you will be the client. You may not change your parent, but you can change yourself and say, what do I want to do with their stuff when it's done? And start making plans. Is there anything that they have that you want in your house? Is there anything you don't want? And start to make plans of where you are going to easily remove that stuff once they're gone and your grief from their passing is healed. Okay, yes. And I love it that somebody just said this and that creation. Yeah, you want to declutter so your kids don't have to deal with it. I'll be honest with you. I do the same thing. I don't even have kids. I have 2 nieces and a nephew, and I don't want them to be shouldered with my stuff because they're not going to care about my stuff. My stuff is only important to me. If they keep one thing that reminds them of me, that's awesome. But you know what? I endeavor to live on in their hearts in stories that they can tell their kids and their grandkids and the kids after them. There was this kick-ass lady in our family tree, and she would show up on this thing called TikTok back in the day, and she would help people with what they were struggling with. And she went traveling all over the world, and she loved her life, and that's what I want for you guys too. I know I'm not going to be here for forever, but I want to be a really good role model while I'm here, and I want to live on in positive stories in my own life and for everybody's, because that's, think about why you're put on the planet. And in this chapter of my life, I really feel like I have learned some stuff that I want to share that helped me feel better with my life, and I want to share with you. Okay. 63 years of living in the house. Yeah, my mother's 50 plus in hers, and yes, it can be overwhelming, but again, people, overwhelm means you're looking at the whole map on a road trip. When you say overwhelm, I say chunk it on down now. Figure out a small way. Can you imagine if somebody started building one of those pyramids in Egypt? Oh my God, it's so overwhelming. We're going to have brick at a time. What can you put your hand on to make a decision and then move on and do it again? And sometimes those little tiny decision fatigue is a real thing. And that's why I often say start with the surface clutter, because there is less of an emotional attachment in it. So if you say to yourself, all I'm going to do today, I'm going to set my timer for 20 minutes, and I'm going to put my phone down, and all I'm going to do is train my brain to focus on one task for 20 minutes. And I say that with love to my ADHD people. I only have to do this for 20 minutes. I'm going to put the blinders on, and all I'm going to do is pick out things that are trash. So I found a theme. It's like, ooh, there's some trash. There's some trash. There's some trash. I'm going to pick out the things that are only recycles. Ooh, that's recycle. And I put it in the trash, put it in the recycle. I'm going to pick out all of the clothes in this room that don't belong here. And if it's just clothes overwhelming, I'm going to pick out all the laundry, the dirty stuff that needs to go in the laundry. Ooh, I'll do that. If you break it on down into little themes and little chunks and little bits of time, then when you're done, you will have decluttered the right way, not just shoving it all into something, okay? So it won't take, the good news is your parents maybe have 63 years worth of accumulation in the house. It won't take you 63 years to declutter it, especially when you have the tools and the tips and the tricks that you're learning right now from me. And if you do one-on-one coaching because you want like that constant 10 weeks of accountability and support, and you can do this. I consider myself like your co-pilot on a road trip. Like you're all jonesing to go to your destination, and because I've been there, maybe it's like a tour guide in a way. But all that we're doing is going to your destination. But I know the road between where you are and any destination decluttered you want to go to. So I get the map. I get the cheerleading. I get the making it fun. I get the, hey, we probably want to slow down now and let's go rest and put some gas in the tank and get some rest. I'm like a really good co-pilot for you. And I train you how to be your own co-pilot so that after the time that I get out of the car, you drive your life to any of the destinations and you're like taking care of yourself on the way, so you show up. How's that? Yes. Every little time you give yourself a high five and you tell yourself you're proud, that's your co-pilot talking. When you are telling yourself you're crap and it's not going to work, that's your backseat drivers. And those are just scared little kids. But that's something I go into when I'm in coaching. Just think of it. Yeah, see? Yeah, and here's the deal, too. It is amazing what J.A. Poppins, I hope I didn't mangle that, but it's amazing. Oh, my God, it's amazing what you can actually do in 20 minutes. Now, I will offer this. Now just doing it consistently, that is great. But do not set yourself up to fail. Because consistently means sometimes some of us, we try to do that perfect streak, and if we miss one day, we say, I ruined it. I ruined my streak. It's awful. I'm giving up, right? No. This is why in my habit tracker, I call it pavers and potholes. Because every time you show up, you pave a way towards where you go. I mean, did you notice too? I don't know if you guys did because I kind of flipped it around here. There's a little map of the U.S. here. And I even use this as a road trip because I think it's fun. Is every day that you show up doing something you want, you are paving your way towards that destination, right? And you look, I don't want to give up. I'm only in Ohio, but I want to get to California. Oh my gosh, I'm already halfway here. I'm in whatever state that is. I'm kind of bad with my states, which is hysterical because I used to be a travel writer. But what I want to offer is this, is you will hit potholes. You will hit potholes. You will hit days that you can't do it, you don't want to do it. That's okay. You're a human. All you need to do is give yourself grace, say it's just a pothole, and then get back on the road. Okay? Okay. And I love it where people are offering, like WCL 7173 has baskets or bags that they mark trash, sorted, shred, etc. So you stay in one area. Yes. Try to keep yourself from going from one room to another in that 20 minutes. I call it like herding kittens because my husband, I have been there helping him declutter, and I just sit there and he tries to go in the other room. I was a process engineer for a while. It's weird because I grew up in a wicked cluttered house. ADHD runs through my family, but I fell into certain jobs in the many chapters of my long and illustrious life where I learned external skills that I now apply to my own life, and I realize how easy it can be to get things done. And one of the things is the inefficiency of going from this place to that all the time. So lovingly herd yourself back into that room and just say it's only for 20 minutes, and after this 20 minutes I can go put the stuff away in the other rooms, okay? Fafa Mama 72 is asking, where's the best place to give it away? Goodwill, try to sell. You bring up two really good points, and I will share this with you and for everybody. First of all, what I will say is there are many different places you can give your stuff away. Do not overwhelm your stuff with trying to make the right choice. The right choice varies from day to day, but what I will say is be cool with the decisions you're making. You know, I've heard people rail against donating your stuff to Goodwill because the people up on the very top make a wicked lot of money and they do very little for the charity. Now, that may be true, but sometimes I'll be honest with you, we have a Goodwill in our house, and sometimes I have, to save my own life, you know, my own time, I will bring multiple things, usually like clothes and stuff that I don't care about. I will go and dump that off because it is convenient to me, and in a way it does help people. Now, I have other things that I know are good things that I know are worth some money, so this is where the selling comes out. Remember, if you're thinking you are anybody here who has clutter that is, I'm saving it because it might be worth something someday, or I paid good money for that and I, want to make some money off of it. Do not forget that the amount of time it takes for you to sell something may not be worth the money you get at the end. It takes you so much time to sell something that unless your thing is worth hundreds of dollars and somebody is worth paying you hundreds of dollars, it's often better to just donate it and save your own time. And what I do with that is I found a place in my town. So in my town, we have a historical society. And the historical society has these sales, both in person and online, where they sell stuff. And 100% of the profits go to the historical society. Now, I feel good about their mission. So that's when I donate the things that I know that if you were a collector or you were worth something, that they can actually get some money off of it. So donating, find a place that works for you, either convenience-wise, because it's really about your life. You know, you can spend your entire life if you want, piddling around trying to find the perfect place. But I want you spending your life doing the things that really light you up, not spending your entire life decluttered. So you're at your deathbed going, oh shit, well I'm decluttered, but now it's time to die. I want you to start now, do it, and then live your life. And then the other thing is trying to sell. Yeah, if you're not selling it, honor that. If it seems like an obligation, just donate it and get it out of your life. Release yourself from it. Local buy nothing groups too, if you want to share it with stuff. I might have said dump it off. I mean, because in the back of our Goodwill, there are bins when they're open that you can put your stuff there. I don't dump the stuff. I mean, they have the bins that I put it there when they're open. I do it right. I agree that time's valuable, but if you need money, doing everything is a dollar yard sale. Yeah, that's it. And just, if whatever works for you. And here's what I want to say, that especially in these situations where there are hundreds of people, which is so awesome, that I feel like I can help everybody. So here's a message to everybody, especially in these public forums where there are so many people. As the song used to say, like, one size does not fit all, says the square pegs people. And what I will say is that what I offer is just a jumping off point. I am giving some ideas that might work for you. When we work one-on-one, that's when we get specific about doing something that aligns with what you want your life to look and feel like, what your time constraints are, that they really get specific. And I want to offer to you guys that this is just like giving you some ideas to swirl around in your head so that you find something that feels right to you. If you want to spend your time doing $1 a yard sale, have at it. If you want to take your stuff and donate it and save yourself those times and go out and play, have at it. I don't judge. I have found a system that works for me, and I endeavor to help you find a system that works for you, that feels good, so you show up and do the things to get yourself decluttered so you have the time. Yeah. After your live the other day, I did an hour of work. Baby steps help. Thank you for your motivation. Oh my God, I love hearing it, because baby steps, every little bit helps. Mantra. Every little time you show up, walking, crawling towards your destination, you're getting closer. Okay, I needed to hear this today. Starting today, you are. This is what I love doing, because I am a morning person, but I know how much it's like to start your day with that feeling of possibility, with that energy in your tank, even if it's just for a day, to say, I can do this. I can move towards a life. I can move away from a life that's not doing it for me and towards a life that does. That's why I am showing up every morning. It's so funny. It's kind of like messed with my normal routine that I used to have, but I love this routine too, because it's really important for me to not keep what I know to myself. It doesn't benefit me if I have like it all to me. What I love about knowledge is that when I share it with you, it doesn't mean I gave it to you and now I don't have it and you do. It means we both have it. And then if you have it, kind of like that Fabergé organic shampoo commercial, if anybody's of an age, it's like I tell you, you tell two friends, and so on, and so on, and so on. And then suddenly everybody is living a better life that they love. Okay. Was feeling overwhelmed. You say overwhelm, I say chunk it on down. You're looking at it too big. It's okay. We all do it. Overwhelm is a feeling that the thoughts in your head, the backseat drivers, try to stop you from changing. They're going to overwhelm you. It looks too big, so you don't even start. Okay? Oh my gosh. Thank you about the decal. Yeah, I totally refer to this. This is where I mostly do my coaching, unless I'm traveling and I have my one-on-one clients kind of in my pocket with me. But because this reminds me too. What's behind me reminds me, like, you're here, but you can go and just fall in love with your destination. You inspired me to do about 6 hours in my craft space. Awesome. Again, that's making space in your life for the things that are important to you. 6 hours in your craft space, that's when you're like, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do that? I'm going to organize it. So I set up. I have a client now that she's an artist, and we are just working one-on-one. I work through Zoom, so we can be from anywhere. And she said she had turned her studio craft office space into the catch-all for the rest of the family, and she really wants to carve out a space just for her. And I love that. We're only working on one room of her house, and already she's seeing such massive progress. I love it. It lights me up when I see people lit up themselves. All right. Thrill of the hunt. I used to be a collector. I still am, and I still grooving on that. Organizing resale stuff into plastic bins in my basement. Rock on, Grandma. That's great. Trust me. Grandma's for freedom. I am telling you, I used it. This is how it all came about. For decades, my way of dealing with the world and escaping and finding out what was important to me was to hop in my car and drive around and take pictures. I'm talking back in the 80s, people. As soon as I got my license, it was freedom to move away from what I didn't want, and I was in control, and I would find the vintage signs and the diners and the drive-in movie theaters, and I would take pictures of them. I was collecting things that I was like, this is important enough for me to take a picture of. And I would do that, and then I have a website that I created years ago called Retro Roadmap, and I was doing the same thing. And I realized at a certain point, I was like, wait a minute, I don't get this. I can plan a kick-ass road trip. Like, my road trips are great. We're there, we love it, we're having a great time. And I said in frustration once, I'll never forget this, like, why can't I plan my life like a kick-ass road trip? And then I was like, I don't know, why can't I? I thought, oh, that'd be kind of fun. Like, what if I just pretended my life was a road trip? How would I start to think about it differently? It was a game changer. It was a game changer because I realized the whole time in my life, I was doing what I felt like I had to. I was driving towards, honestly, you guys, I was driving towards a life that I didn't want to live, but I felt obligated. I was trying to live a life that my parents wanted me to live because they were trying to make me happy. When I stopped driving towards a place I didn't want to go and started paying attention to a life destination that would light me up, me, the unique individual that I am, and I started doing things in my life that aligned more with what I wanted, game changer. That's how I met my husband. I'm doing like this because he's asleep on the other side of the room. He's a night owl. I'm an early bird. Seriously, when you start to pay attention to what's important to you, when you can quiet the voices in your head that are trying to tell you, or the voices out of your head, the people in your life that are trying to tell you how to live, and when you get quiet and you say, what's important to me with this one life that I have, and you start driving towards it, your whole life will change in the most wonderful ways. I guarantee, because I am evidence of it. My life was unhappy for decades. I was unhappy. I had some good stuff, don't get me wrong. I had friends and I did some fun things, but the overall through line was like, what the F am I doing here? Why can't I be happy? What can I, bleh? And then when I finally, instead of being scared of the backseat drivers and the big scary shadows in front of me, I kind of scarily looked inside, and then I realized that it was just me trying to keep myself safe and trying to make other people happy versus myself, okay? It's a game changer, and this is how I show up, a decluttering fairy godmother. I love it, yes. And here's the great thing too, Grandma Grateful. Anytime all of you all are decluttering, just think of the fact that you can be the fairy godmother to somebody else. The thing that you use, just think of, like, when I'm looking back here, what is that? It's one of my train cases. No, that's actually a little, like 70s, like a sewing kit. That was in somebody's house. They didn't want it anymore. They donated it to a thrift store or whatever. I saw it. I loved it. It lit up my life. That person doesn't know that they made my life better by donating that thing. So think of the fact that every time you donate something to someplace, when you get it out of your life because it's weighing you down, it could lighten up somebody else's life, okay? So it's, oh my gosh, I've already been on here for an hour. I should probably take a breath and take a sip of tea. And I will introduce myself again for those of you who are just joining or maybe been on for a while. My name is Beth. I call myself the decluttering life coach because it's not just about the decluttering, it's about living your life. And I call my coaching Destination Decluttered. And it's because, if nothing else, if you think about it, I want you to fall in love with, I want you to get in touch with what destination, how do you want your life to look and feel, and know that just like a road trip, except for my big old head's not always in the way, you can drive towards that. Every time you show up for yourself, every time you get rid of something that doesn't fit in your life that you have or want in the future. And that's okay. We as humans evolve. Think of if you kept all the stuff from your childhood or you were always eating the same food, we evolve. So it's okay that you have stuff in your life that meant something at one point and it doesn't anymore. It means that you are just evolving into the next version. Peace and love right back at you, Blue Ridge darling. Yeah, oh, thank you. I'm glad I'm giving value. This is why I'm showing up in my mornings, because I feel like it's really cool to help people with what I'm good at and what they may be struggling with. Isn't that kind of being a cool human? And I do the one-on-one coaching. I have a website where you can sign up for a consultation, destinationdecluttered.com. How else can I help you? Oh, mailing list. I have an email mailing list you can get on. And for just the people on that mailing list, once a month I do a live Zoom where we all get on. It's all those little tiles. Again, kind of like the Fabergé organic shampoo commercial I was talking about earlier. And you get to ask me your specific clutter question, knowing that the answer to your question will also help everybody else on it. And I do that because I really do value the fact that somebody has given me your email, you've given me your email address. I don't spam you. I don't clutter up your mailbox. Like, how hysterical would that be? And I mainly do it to offer the occasional tip, but basically to say, hey, if you're struggling and we're not working one-on-one, this might be a flavor of what it would be like to have one-on-one coaching. Because I will say, I have been helped by books. I've helped by podcasts. I have been helped by, inspirational videos. But the real massive change that's happened in my life is when I finally decided to invest in myself and pony up and pay for some goddamn coaching programs and holy hell balls, as they say. That has made it just shoots you closer to where you want to be. You can make good progress on your own, but having specific help for you is a game changer. And I just say that because it's worked for me. And so that's why I want to offer it to anybody here too. So that's that. Okay, so let me get back to the questions here. So Mary says, I work full time and I have to declutter. When I get home from work, I'm so tired to start. I get you with that, Mary. And what I want to gently offer is this, is I get that feeling, but I want everybody to realize the power of 5 minutes, the power of 10 minutes, and also the power of creating now, starting today, and creating new routines, new habits that stop you today from cluttering up your house on a daily basis. So this might help, okay? So when you sign up for my mailing list, I have this printed out habit tracker. It's goofy. I made it in Excel, but it works for me and I use it. That's why I'm showing you the one that I have with all my little pavers and potholes. You get a blank one that you can put anything you want to track. Like I am tracking how much water I eat, trying to get my steps in, trying to eat literally like one fresh vegetable. Sometimes it's a struggle, people. But the other one has 10 easy peasy things for you to just remind yourself to put your keys away in the right place for you. Hang up your coat. Deal with your mail on a daily basis. Different little simple, smidgy little things that you don't think are going to make a difference. But if you do that, suddenly those everyday items will stop you from being cluttered, so you don't have to deal with those anymore. And then, set your timer for 5 or 10 minutes and pick some surface clutter. Again, I'm going to be repeating myself a lot because a lot of this is people just joining me and a lot of repetition. Like, how you do this? Seriously? This is a good metaphor too. Wait, I always got maps around me. How you get from here to here is you do the same thing every day and repeat it until you get closer. So you show up every day and you do a little decluttering. You show up every day and you drive for a few hours, and then you stop and you rest and recover. And then the next day you show up and you drive some and you stop and you rest and recover. And then you show up the next day and you stop and you rest and recover. And maybe the next day you say, oh, I'm going to stay here because this is kind of a fun place. But then when you're done there, then you get back on the road and you continue going. And I want to say that it's like when you know that every time you're decluttering, you're kind of reclaiming your life to be the life that you want it to look and feel like, then you're more likely to show up even for just 10 minutes. Mary, just set your time. Oh my God, Grandma Grateful. I am such I distract myself, but I have a Brady Bunch hack that I use in my coaching. I'll share it with you in a second, okay? But I will say this to everybody. Never underestimate. Don't think that 5 minutes you can't get anything done. Don't think that a minute. I get a couple of minute examples for you. I live outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and there was a sporting event a couple of days ago, the Super Bowl, where the Phillies, see, I'm not a sport person. The Eagles were playing. So we went over to a neighbor's house. They invited us over to watch the game. And if anybody wants to underestimate the amount you can get done, the amount 1 minute makes a difference, oh my God, that last minute of that game was making or breaking it. So 1 minute, start it, have fun, see how much you can get done in 1 minute. Put your timer on to 10 minutes, Mary, and know that at the end of that 10 minutes, you just showed up for yourself. You just drove 10 minutes closer to the life you want. And it didn't take that long, and you still can recuperate. But I will say this, when you realize that you're doing it for yourself, that may energize you. When you're doing it because you have to, when I'm telling you you should do it, or you're like, ain't nobody gonna want to show up for that. Your backseat drivers are gonna be like, it's fine. You deserve to lay around. But when you could even just put on one of the recordings of one of these lives that I'm putting up on YouTube and just put it on in the background, or with some music. Make it fun. It doesn't have to be boring. Set your timer. Deal with some surface clutter. Surface clutter is the easiest, then stored clutter, and then sentimental. Start with the trash. Start with the recycles. Hang up your coat. Put your laundry away. That'll help. Okay? So let me just riff for a minute too, because Grandma Brady Bunch. So when I coach people, one of the things that I have found, and what, that whole thing, so this kind of pairs with what Mary was talking about. Oh God, it's already 9 o'clock. I will stay on for a few more minutes because this is kind of fun, and I'm hoping I'm helping you. Is a lot of times people will say, and I'm not judging you, they're saying, I don't have the time to do it. And what I want to offer is, the human brain is a funny thing. The human brain will kind of overestimate the time it takes to do things and underestimate the time it tends to do things. So I have a time management system that sounds way more formal than it is. And I'm reaching for one of my little visual cues because I'm a visual person and it helps me teach and remind it myself. I want to offer this to you is I help you think of where you're using your time during the day instead of time blocking. Time blocking always makes me think that every 15-minute increment needs to be accounted for, and to me it just looks like a brick wall in front of me, right? Like I already feel constrained and I'm not going to show up. I'll be honest. I was reading an ADHD paper that somebody was trying to help. It was about how to, organize your time. And I saw their thing, and already I'm like, and I'm a clutter coach. Like I'm aware of this, but I see some things when it makes me be too restrictive. I get that don't fence me in kind of feeling. So what I call my time blocking is I call it breeze blocking. Now remember I mentioned how I love Palm Springs, California. So this is a breeze block. This is a little tiny one. My friend Minty made it for me. And this is what I want to offer, is having a little bit of structure in where you use your time, but also allowing life and air to move through it will make you more likely to put a block in your calendar of the things that are important. And when I say that, I even mean a block of 20 minutes where you say, I'm going to declutter, but just for 20 minutes. When you do that, and I do that every day, and I do it old school and I do it messy because it makes me, it's a low barrier to entry. This is what it looks like, right? I put the blocks in, and then I realize that oftentimes I do have some time, and I do have the ability to do more things with my time. It's just a curious way to look at where I do spend my time and where do I want to spend it. Now, I brought this up because the other thing about putting things on your calendar, your daily calendar, is prioritizing. And this is my Brady Bunch thing, right? Here, see what we got? Seriously? Brady Bunch right there? It's the story of a lovely lady. Watch it. She may sing the whole song. This is what I offer, is that you've got 3 sections of where you spend your time, okay? You have, and just think about this today when you're going through your day. What bucket does this fall in? What column would where what I'm doing right now fall into? Is this what I'm doing for what I call my now me? Now, this is your already established schedule in your house, but even think about that now. Are you doing this stuff because it is moving you forward in the direction that you want to go? Are you doing this stuff? Are you spending your time in your life on other people? Not me. Or are you spending your time, this is the stuff that I'm doing currently in my life that supports me and I'm cool with it. And what I want to offer is when you want to make a change in your life, We just pay attention to the things that you could do with the time that you have that would move you in the direction that you want to go to. And so I call that like literally like the Marsha Brady category. So I will do this. Like, where is it right now? Oh, I was already doing this morning. Or maybe I got it on the other side. Is I will literally, see, I've got my little things here, and I just fold my paper, and I put the things that are most important here in the Marsha thing, and then the things that are least important. I guess that would be Bobby. Anyhow, just, I love it. I'm a pop culture. I'm Gen X. Pop culture makes me laugh. It's my second language, and it makes it memorable for me. I don't want to be all boring and corporate. Ever since I was like little, I was like, I never want to work in one of those boring. I'm not boring, and I don't want to be boring. I don't want to show up boring, and I want to make it fun for people to learn. Okay. What else we got? So yes, Brady Bunch. Okay. Yeah. So Miss Mullins says, if I get a call saying someone is coming over, I can panic clean more in 10 minutes than anything. Right. But that's like a fear-based thing. Like, oh my God, they're going to come. Can you imagine if you showed up not in panic? What if you didn't need to do that at all? What if your life was already decluttered and you were like, fine, come on over. And then you kept on like, sipping your cup of tea and saying, when they came over, my house looks awesome. Yep. And that's why, and Grandma just laughed and I love making people laugh. I do. I joke. I do jazz hands. I always joke that I went to the Fozzie Bear School of Comedy. Yeah, visual learner. It makes it easier because here's what I found. When I was like reading self-help books and trying to help my own self, is there were words that people would use that I literally had to like translate it in my head into a way that made sense for me. And that was so exhausting because I'd often have to be like, okay, who is the ego? What is the neural pathway? And when I started talking in language that I already knew about road trips and traveling, we all pretty much know how to drive, right? So just imagine yourself. You are behind the wheel of a car, and the car is your life. You never get out of that car, which is awesome because then when you do, that means you've passed along. And you have the ability in your life. You have driven your life to where you are right now. And if you're parked right here, you have your hands, and I'm always doing this, hands on the steering wheel. So you can steer your life into every direction you want. But you do this, but if you're parked, you're not going anywhere. Your backseat drivers, you have thoughts in your head that are keeping you parked and not wanting you to change. But when you tap into the fact that you also have thoughts in you that help you get out of park and get into drive, and you're driving on the right road towards what you wanted to, a destination you want to get to, it's a game changer. And what I do when we coach and when I show up like this is I speak to you, I speak to me in a language of possibility. I make it fun. I am your co-pilot. I'm encouraging you, and I am showing you that you can talk to yourself to say, you know what, let's just do it for 20 minutes. Let's just see what happens. Let's just decide, why not use my imagination and dream of that fabulous life I want? And most of the times, our fabulous lives are not filled with yachts and gold. It's like, I want to feel calm in my brain. I want to feel good in my house. I just want to not have to be cleaning up all the time. That's it. Yeah, okay, so see, I love this. Somebody says, I remember panic cleaning it as a kid. So do I. My mom taught me to toss the dirty laundry into the shower. So see, this is also, sometimes we were just never taught as children to not be cluttered because our parents didn't know how to. So no harm, no foul. How could you be mad at somebody if they didn't know how to drive a car, if nobody ever taught them how to drive a car? Or the person that taught them didn't drive really well. Yes, it's so true. Blast music, okay, blasting music to drown out the backseat drivers. So here's the thing, you may have tried to drown out the backseat drivers. You can still hear them even though you're trying to pretend to listen to the radio. And here's how I approach it. And this also has been a game changer for me. Our backseat drivers, really, you guys, are just scared little kids in car seats. You may think that they're giant and scary because you're looking at their shadow and it's like, wow, you suck, do all the bad things. But if you turn around and really look at it, it's really fear. It's really fear in your heart of change, of not being loved. It's all fear. It's all little kids that just don't want you to change. They don't want you to go to that cool diner. They want you to go to McDonald's drive-thru. And so they will say anything they can to stop you from doing anything and driving in the direction you want to go to, okay? Okay, your mom kept things pristine and wouldn't let me help. I don't know how she did it. You know how she did it? by spending her whole freaking time probably cleaning her house. And this is when my modern, I hope your mom was happy when she did that. I really do. I hope that filled up her life. But I will say this, if the only thing I was able to do in my life was clean my house, and I knew there were other things I could do with my short amount of time on the planet, I would be frustrated. And I would want to, keep a clean house, but then also go out and actually discover the world on my own. So I hope your mom was happy when she was doing it, but I couldn't be happy that way. And I love that I live in a time that I am able to be a married woman and not have children. I love the fact that I have that opportunity to use my time outside of the household. And I want to offer that to everybody. That's why I call myself the decluttering life coach, because it's not about, the last thing I want to do is keep you in your house getting overly fussy about your decluttering so you have no time to go out and discover the life and live the life that lights you up, that only you can. There are decluttering people out there who are like, fold your things all this nice way and alphabetize your socks. And I get to a certain point that I'm like, you know what? Here's my drawer. I could literally show it to you. Here's my drawer. I get these 3 dividers. Here's my underpants. Here's my socks. And here's my what do you call it? My slipper socks. Close enough, because they're out of the way. They're stored. They're organized enough that I know that's my underpants, but I'm not going to fold my underpants. I want to go have fun. I don't want to be folding my underpants. That's minutes out of my life that I could be out enjoying the sunshine, taking a deep breath, taking a walk, Okay, so this and that creation, hard for me because I clean for a living. Okay, how about this? And I don't want to clean when I get home. This could be a thing. This and that creation. Think of how much you charge somebody else to clean their house, and then pay yourself to clean your own house. Say to yourself, every time I show up and do an hour of cleaning for myself, I can go then spend X amount of dollars. I can put that money in a fund to go do something awesome for myself. We are worth it. We all have an hourly rate, and make sure that your hourly rate is worth the time that you spend it. And that's why I say, I don't want to spend my time folding my underpants. I want to spend my time. Notice the words we use, spend. Time is a currency, and time is something you never get back. So spending a small amount of time doing stuff you don't want gives you a big amount of time to spend your time on what you do want, Yes, I used to do that with, thank you, creative gal. I love this, the interaction with people, okay? Yes, pay yourself even more than clients, tips. You deserve it. And that's one of the reasons, too, I'll offer this. Speaking about where you spend your time and what you invest in, it's fascinating. I love discovering how the words we use really have so many layers. And I use that example of what is your time worth to you when I also talk about when you're hanging on to stuff that you think you're going to sell. Because it's going to take you the same amount of time to prep something to sell that's worth $5 versus prepping and same amount of time to sell that's worth $500. And I want to say, do not waste your precious time, We never get time back. So don't waste your time on things that are not going to benefit you now or in the future. If it's only worth 5, 10, 20, $50 maybe. 50, depends on the time and depends on how easy you can make it to sell it. But what I want to offer is your time is worth a lot more than you think it is. So release yourself from selling anything that's worth $20 or less. Give it away and reclaim that time, okay? Think about it. Are you only paying yourself minimum wage? Are you saying by the time I did this and I spent all these times and then it was only worth $30, that if you divided it out, you'd be like, oh my God, that was like $7 an hour. Versus I spent this amount of time and then my rate was $50 an hour. Did a little different feeling, huh? So, all right. The other thing too, and I see this, I see a little interaction here, I want to offer this, is Kim and This and That Creation is saying, I'm a custodian, not a house cleaner. And what I want to offer to you is this. When you are, just the stories we tell ourselves about what we do and what we don't do can make or break it. So this is a story I want to introduce. I want to share with you This and That Creation. If you're a custodian, that is awesome because you know what a difference a nice, clean, orderly place can make to the people who live in it. So when you are in their lives, you are making their lives better by having everything nice and clean, everything organized. Whatever you do for them is awesome. What I want to offer to you is you deserve that for yourself too. You know what a benefit it is for you to custodian in the place that you are doing. If it wasn't a benefit, they wouldn't pay you for it, right? So remind yourself, and I'm going to tell this to everybody, you are worth it. You are worth showing up for yourself and creating an environment that you live in every single day where you wake up and you're surrounded by stuff that only lights you up. Then you wake up and it looks pretty to however your eyes want it to, that you're delighted with when you look around or what you see, that you wake up and you can easily find the things that you need to do, so you're not scrambling for where are my underpants, where's my spatula, I can't find that bill that I was supposed to pay. You are worth living in a home that lights you up and makes your living easier. The world is tough enough as it is. Why make it tougher on yourself by being disorganized and unhappy in your home? Okay? Okay. Yeah. Did the per hour thing. Cutoff is $10 an hour, right? Recommendations for a photo scanner? I don't really have anything specific. There are plenty of places on the internet you can do that. And I will say this, I haven't started with that, but I have a scanner attached to my own thing. You know, I might do one of those things, honestly, where there are services out there that you send them a box of your stuff and have them scan it, because I don't want to spend my time zoop, doing it myself. I could put it in a box, have somebody else scan it, and then go off and do other things. See, because then you're saying my time is worth the amount of money that it takes to get that done. That's the other thing I want to say to you too, is spending your money on getting help to make things easier for you is money well invested, because then you will free yourself up to do things that somebody else can do that you don't have to do. That allows you to do the things in your life that only you can do the way you do them. Anybody can scan my photos. I can do it. Somebody else can do it. But when I'm scanning my photos, I'm not showing up helping people declutter their lives. I'm not doing the thing that only I can do in the way I do them. So think about it in that way, you know? Awesome. Michelle, I'm so glad, Michelle Mia too, that you said, this has brought me so much awareness to me and a new optimistic perspective to tackle this. Thank you. And I want to say this. It means a lot to me that you shared that with me, because it means that I am on the right road. That me showing up and just talking to my phone and connecting up with people is adding to the goodness of the world. So that makes me want to, you know, you said you want to do it more often. You want to show up to yourself. That's why I will do more of these TikTok lives, specifically this week. But I will say this, next week I'm traveling a bit. I may show up, I may not, because I also want to be living my life not feeling like I always have to do this. Once this becomes an obligation, it changes the vibe of it. And I always want to show up feeling like I'm helping, okay? So when I start thinking I have to do this on my vacation, it won't show up the same. So I'd rather not show up at all than show up being a stinker. Pretty Patty H. I'm 65 and I feel like it will take the rest of my life to declutter. It will if you let it, but it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. That's one of the reasons I help people declutter. And I'm not saying here, hire me, but what I will say is this, is when your mindset is in the right place and your time set, when you are saying, I want to do this, I'm going to make the time for it, I'm going to show up for it. That's why when I coach with people, that's what I provide, is that helping you show up for yourself, helping you show up for yourself where you may have given up before. But that's why we assure that what you're driving towards is a destination you love. It's not where I want to go, it's where you want to go. So you remind yourself daily of what I want my life to look and feel like, and even saying, I want to live a life that is decluttered, and I don't want it to take the rest of my life. I want to spend the rest of my life living a decluttered life. That's when, where's my map? Where's my map? That's when you're going to show up, and instead of going for a smidge a day on your own, if you show up for hours a day and work on it, and you have the right skills and the right perspective and the right, like teacher who can teach you how to do these things, if you struggle with that, the sooner you do it and the more you show up, it is a math problem. You will get there and then you will be decluttered. And here's the thing I want to offer too. And if you do it in the right way, you will have built up skills that stop you from being cluttered. So you will never have that glut of clutter again. Many of us are dealing with decades worth of bad habits, or bad habit sounds kind of judgy, but habits that keep us cluttered and stuff that is accumulated because of that. It's like gained weight. It's like you lose the weight and then you live a life where you just maintain the weight that you get to that feels right to you, and you can help live the life you want. Okay? Yeah, see, KK Smith needed after the motivation after derailed after the holidays. Yeah, the holidays can throw us all for a loop. But what I want to offer is, this is one of the reasons why I'm showing up kind of at this stage of the calendar, is I live on the East Coast and the weather is kind of meh right now, and I like the warm weather. And I am showing up right now in the early months of the year because, like, if you started coaching with me, if you even just started listening to what I'm doing, and if you started making these changes in your life, even in 10 weeks, which is the length of time that I do coaching with people, that's not even in May. Your life could, your house could look and feel so different between now and May if you just started now, that when the weather starts getting nicer, you can go out and play. Or you will have gained skills that instead of like, oh, well, then I'll have to clean out the garage, or, oh my God, you will have skills that you use for the rest of your life because you'll look at your stuff, you'll look at your habits, you'll always be reminded of, is what I'm doing right now adding to the life I want? And if the answer is yes, rock on. And if it's no, get curious and say, well, why am I doing it? And sometimes I'm like, I don't know, because I want to eat that piece of candy. Nah, and just get cool with your decisions, okay? What have we got? Okay, I've gotten my stuff under control and then lost it again. All right, well, that means the cool thing is you know what to do to get it under control. And maybe you also just need to mix up some habits so that you kind of stay that way, Yeah, okay, so this is cool. Patsy Cline. Oh, I used to love Patsy Cline's music. Not that I still don't, but I had a chapter in my life where I was all about her. I find the decluttering process freeing. However, my spouse is severely triggered and fights it. And this is what I want to offer to every single one of us. We all have internal stories about what stuff means and what clutter means and what decluttering means. And it's different to all of us depending upon how we grew up and what the stories are in our heads and in our hearts. So what I can offer to you is instead of being judgy, and I'm not saying that you are, but really get curious, and with curiosity and love. That's how I show up with my clients, with myself, with my husband, with my family, with my friends. Curiosity and love, peace and love, peace and love, is realize that your spouse has some stories about what having stuff means and what getting rid of stuff means. And get curious about that. And you can ask them about it and have kind of an interesting conversation. Get to know your spouse a little bit better and maybe ask them why. Now, he may not know why, or I'm saying I'm being judgy. They may not know why they have it, but you may do it. You may. And just you might be able to get a deeper understanding and a deeper relationship by asking those things and not being judgmental and not being accusatory, but saying, just being curious. I wonder why you feel that way. And they may say, well, when I was a little kid, X happened. Or I don't know, because they don't even want to deal with it. But just curiosity and love, and know that we all have our stuff stories, our clutter stories about why we do things, why we don't do things. And oftentimes it goes back to how we were brought up and what we were told. And the things that we were told that we internalize and think of as truths, that now we can actually look at and say, is that really true? Or if it's true, does that help me get to live the life I want? And, whatever. So keep on decluttering and making yourself feel good about decluttering. And try not to, and I say try not to, I have a spouse too. It's a daily thing. But really try not to be so judgy. And I'm saying this to myself more than you. But try to look at the person that you love with love and curiosity and know that they came from a certain place and they're dealing with stories inside them that cause them to react and act in a certain way. And you are too. And just keep doing the things that you love and keep your heart open with curiosity and compassion and love for your spouse. And maybe if you show up like that, it might work. And if not, maybe kind of be cool with a certain amount of clutter that they have in their own space. Now, I will say this, and this is another one of my kind of, not roadblocks. No, this is my, what do you call that? Soapbox. That's it. Not roadblock, soapbox. Let's stand up on my soapbox. And this is one thing too, and especially I'm talking to primarily the ladies on this thread, but I will say this, is our society for decades, for millennia, have often both overtly and subtly implied that the maintaining of the household is solely up to the woman in the house. And I want you to become aware of that if you're not already. But I also want to say this is now the 21st century. Unless you are living, if you're living alone, yes, it's up to you, right? But if you are living in a house with people, if you're living in a home with people that are not infants that are only crawling around, little kids like under the age of, I don't know, 3, or if you're living in a household and you've got people in the household that are like in their elder decades and they're housebound and they are unable to move around and assist. Anybody who's not in that kind of part of the bell curve, if you're living in a house with able-bodied human beings, and even not able-bodied, I don't know, everybody who is in the household, this is one of my firm things, should be actively participating in the maintenance of that household being a place where it is pleasant for everybody to live in. It should not fall to the woman of the house to clean up after everybody. That is an outdated notion. That is bullshit. And it does not serve you to be the servant of everybody else. Of course, it's easy for everybody else. So if you start asking your family or telling your family that things are going to change and we're going to be decluttered, they will start to bitch and moan and complain because they're hoping that if they do that, you're going to give up. They don't want to participate because who does? If somebody else is going to do it for you, I'm lazy as the next person. But as a parent, I will say this. It is your duty to make sure that your kids grow up to be adults that can survive in the world outside of the nest and not be expecting somebody to clean up after them. If you're always cleaning up after your children, they will not know how to clean up after themselves when they move out. And their houses, you will not have set them up as good adults. They will move out and their houses will be all cluttered because they never learned good skills, right? The other thing too is with your situation, if you have a spouse or a partner, is if that spouse or partner had to live on their own, they would be required to do a certain amount of stuff. And I'm not saying it needs to be 50-50, whatever, but if there is an imbalance there and it gets some frustration, I really feel like it's something that should be addressed because it is unfair for one person, especially, now, I mean, your mileage may vary, but if both people are working out of the household, I even find this myself. I will often say to my husband, hey, thanks for helping me, as if this was my burden and he's just, showing up. It should be a burden shared. Everybody needs to be an adult and do their part, okay? That's what I recommend. Try that on. If it doesn't fit, just stir it around and see how that feels. But you shouldn't have to do it all your own. That's all I'm saying, okay? What do we got here? Okay, I see something. Okay, but my parents are elderly. I can't live outside this house. Okay, that's cool. Then make the house better for you. Show up. If your parents are elderly, if they can't do it for them, do it for you, Yeah, don't be a servant. That's bullshit. It is. It's not the way things should be. It's been convenient for certain people for a long time to have a servant. Doesn't everybody want a servant? I mean, I'm lazy. Trust me. I would love it. And if my husband does stuff like he likes to cook, I don't like to cook. So I'm like, hey, hon, what's for lunch? And he's like, oh, I'm making this. I'm like, score. Because if it's up to me, I mean, literally, he was gone. He was doing a gig the other day. I made popcorn for dinner. That's how I roll, No, you don't have to nag someone 1,000 times a day. No, what I will offer this is nagging doesn't get you anywhere. And trust me, because I've tried it myself, is have a conversation with an adult and say, hey, you know what? I get resentful because I feel like I'm doing too much. I would like to readdress the imbalances, and it may seem clinical. Have a conversation when you're both in a good space. And it's not nagging. Nagging doesn't work, and it makes you're always nagging me. I'm not saying it's easy. Trust me, I'm not saying it's easy. But what I'm saying is your good feeling inside you as a human, not feeling like the servant to everybody, is worth having what I would call the scary shortcuts. Remember, and this is me talking to the deep stuff, but going back to the Brady Bunch, the stuff that's in the Marsha Brady quadrant of when I talk about priorities is I often call those scary shortcuts because they are the things that that you are a little bit afraid to do, but you know that if you did it, it would make a big difference. And I only say make a big difference in the positive way, okay? It's up to you. Again, these are just things that I offer, but this is what I believe, and so this is how I approach things, okay? And if you're taking care of your elderly parents, that is awesome. Rock on with your bad self. That's so cool. And you can also change your mindset if you're cleaning up after your elderly parents. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Yeah, you can't fix your husband, but you also, if you don't fix your husband, he's not broken. You can change. Everybody on the planet can change. It's whether they want to, if they're motivated to, or if things are set up so they don't have to. Like if he says I'm broken, and trust me, like there's a whole bunch of things, but it also allows him to have somebody else still pick up after him. So everybody can change. Many people can change if they want to. When I talk in superlatives, I know there's always going to be exceptions, but I'm just offering that. Okay. All right. I have a lot of things I hang on to in case I need to sell because I need money. I've had to do this. Okay. I've done it too. I really had, I had an opportunity. It wasn't had to. It kind of was had to because I had an opportunity, unexpected opportunity to go on a crazy trip with a friend of mine that I've known since 4 years old, came up, and I was like, I don't necessarily have the cash on hand to do that. So I did sell some stuff. The motivation was there. What I would offer to this, if anybody is thinking of selling some of their items for money, do this today. Look at the stuff that you are thinking of selling because you're holding on to it because you want to be secure that when you need the money, you sell it. The market changes all the time. It does. The stuff that you might have been worth something back in the day may not be worth what it was. I just want to offer that. So think of the things, and I will say this to, who was it? Sorry, it flipped. What I will say this is, look at the stuff you're saving now and do a search on Google and say, what is it worth today? And if it's worth something good today, what I would recommend is sell it today and keep the cash. Don't spend the cash, but have that. Have the nest egg be the cash. Because if you put all your money into Beanie Babies and you say you're going to sell them one day, the market can dry up. I speak from firsthand specific my own life experience. My dad used to collect books. My dad passed away, but we had his book collection. Now, he spent a lot of money on those books, so we thought, oh, when it's time for us to sell the book collection, we're going to get a lot of money. Nope. Found out last summer, nobody's buying those books anymore. So we did get some money, but we didn't get a lot of money. We should have sold them shortly after he passed, or at least we should have been, what I say, like taking the pulse of what is the stuff that I'm saving now that I think is worth for money? What's it going for nowadays? And I don't say what people are asking for it. Look for what people are paying for it. Now, the thing that might surprise you too, and I will offer this to you guys, you might be surprised at the stuff that you or an earlier generation thought was, important or thought was valuable. That stuff may not be valuable anymore, but you may have things in your home that are valuable that you didn't even realize it. And I'm thinking primarily of kitchen stuff. I'm thinking of Pyrex. I'm thinking of Corelle. I'm thinking of Libby glasses. Any of that stuff that would touch the hearts of people that were born in like the 70s and 80s and 90s. Any of those kind of more modern things that are not antiques, but somebody might have a connection to. That is stuff that you also may say, what else do I have? Do a search. You might be able to sell the stuff you have. But the window of what's popular and what's not to sell and what money you get, the window is always just changing. So just be aware of that. So, like the stuff that I held on to would have been a lot more profitable had I sold it some other times. I still got money. So just be aware of the seasons of that, okay? Okay, I love this. So steady as she grows. I have childhood cleaning trauma. I lived in filth as a kid, and my way was never good enough for mom. Okay? So notice how I said earlier that all of us are working on our own lives, and judging what cleaning is like is based on what stories we carry in ourselves, in our brains, what thoughts we tell ourselves, what words are in our brain that cause us to either move forward in a life towards a life we want or stay stuck. And what I will offer with kindness and generosity and compassion is that is really cool that you identify that. However, and I will say this, if that story is now keeping you clean and happy and feeling good, like somehow you're like, I lived in a dirty household and my way was never good enough for my mother, but I have found a way that my house is not filthy now and I love the way I clean because it's minimal and I have time for myself. Rock on. That's a story that gets you to where you want to go to. That's your co-pilot. But if your story is making you feel like ass and it's keeping you stuck and beating yourself up and you're not where you want to go to, what I lovingly offer is you can deconstruct that story and create a better story for yourself so that you can start from this day forward moving towards a life that looks and feels good in your heart, in your body. Okay. Okay. Kayla says, I have the empty nest and I'm moving to a smaller home. Do I have any suggestions? Hell yeah, I do, because I love that idea. What I love about that idea of an empty nest, and even everybody, even if you're not moving out of your house, I offer this, and this is one of the things I do when I'm coaching. Yeah, see, 5 or 10 minutes of power, rock on, is pretend you're going to drive, to pretend you're going to move. I did this during COVID. Pretend you were going to move, and pretend you were moving into your dream house. Your dream house, but your dream house is like half the size of the house you live in now. It is smaller physically, so therefore you are physically unable to bring everything from your new house to your current house to your new house. But your new house lights you up. It is the perfect example of whatever you want your life to be. You know, mine was a mid-century modern house in Palm Springs with bright light and open and airy and colorful and stuff like that. So then I say to myself, and I say this to you, if you are moving out, you may know the size of the place that you're moving and the style and what you want your life and your home to look and feel like. And I will offer this. Look at the stuff in your house right now and say, how would this look and feel in my new place? And if you're like, no, that thing tells me a crappy story, it's time to release it. Release it. And what I want to say is then think of the things that do fit and keep them, right? So that's one way you can do it, is curate your life. I was an art history major. I know all about museum curation. Pick out the stuff, pick out the best things. Pick out the things that work the best for you. Pick up the things that tell you a good story in your heart and in your life. And bring those things forward. Because what you want to do is look around your house. There shouldn't be anything in your house that tells you a bad story. Why would you want to pile of turds in your house till it's stinking up your house? Get rid of that. And then all you're left with is stuff that supports you and makes you feel light and wonderful and helps you live in this crazy world that we live in. Okay? The other thing, too, I want to offer to everybody who is moving is you're going to give your best guess right now as to what's going to light you up and not. So if it's the stuff that you really, if there's stuff that you're hemming and hawing about, you may temporarily, notice the word temporarily, what do you call it? I was just realizing how late it's getting and I got stuff to do. So I have to remind myself. I could talk about this stuff all day, can you tell? But that's why, please, look at my videos, do my my website. But I will say this. Shit, I just fell off the branch. Okay, we were talking about moving. Yes. You are giving a best guess as to what you are bringing to your new house. And if you're hemming and hawing on stuff, what I will say is this. Bring the stuff to your new place, but think of it as just temporarily. And then even then, after you move in, you will have a better idea of what fits and what doesn't, both how it makes you feel and physically. Does it fit into your place? Know that you're going to do another declutter after you move in and release the stuff that you weren't sure was going to be there, but now that you're in your new place, you can do it there. So decluttering comes in waves. There comes in cycles. So it's not a one and done and then you're done forever. It's like you get to know yourself and you get to know your space and then you learn from it. Like when we moved into our house, now I didn't want to move, but I used that mindset to get rid of things that didn't fit with what I want. And now I have less stuff in my house and it feels nice and light and airy and I love it. But when we moved in here, I had just come from a career where I was selling mid-century modern and vintage stuff. So we moved in here, literally, you guys, we had like 4 or 5 couches. We had tons of lamps. But we moved in because I was like, I'm not sure which ones are going to look good in our house. But then when we picked the one couch and the couple of lamps, then I knew I could easily get rid of stuff. So, okay, my perfect home is a bus. I have a home, but I'm building a travel home to see the country. Awesome. That sounds like fun. Do it. But you know, in a bus, you can only carry so many things. So you have to realize what's really important to you. And that's what we're all doing. Even if we're not living on a bus, think about honing in on what is really, really, really important to you and what isn't so important to you that you can let go. And then that just gives you space. Okay? Yeah, it can be tough. Somebody says, wife of Mickey says, moved in 2018 and donated the majority of our stuff. It was hard, but felt so freeing after. Yeah, it does. It can be tough, but you have to remind yourself when you're feeling better about the fact that releasing things doesn't mean losing things. It means gaining a life you want. That can be a game changer. That when you're releasing things and donating things, that you're not necessarily losing it, that you're helping somebody you don't even know get the stuff that you don't want, okay? I move into a home in a couple of weeks. Needed to hear this. Awesome. Congratulations on the new home. And just remind yourself, design that new home and life so that everything there works the best for you. You feel good there. There's nothing that tells you bad stories. There's no guilt. There's no ugh. There's no meh. Keep the things that tell you good stories, even if it seems a little bit less cluttered than it was. And know that you're going to feel good every time you walk around your house. I do that. I painted every room in our house. We did different colors. And every time the sun comes in, I love it. I'm looking right now at a completely blank white wall, which seems weird, but I have that space open because I know that there's going to be a piece of artwork that's going to fit so perfectly there that if I had something that I just got off of like Home Goods, that it would be like, yeah, whatever. I'm saving that space. I'm holding space for the delight of awesome stuff to happen. Okay? Yeah, you know what? Being excited, and you're saying the build is so hard, that's the journey, but being excited about what it's going to look like after, that's the mindset for everything you do. If you get psyched about the destination you want to get to, it will allow you to put up with a lot of crap to get through there. Okay? Is it okay that I just want somebody to do it for me? How do I work with that? Okay, here's what I'm going to offer, because this is what happens, is trust me. I am all about how to get somebody else to do something for me. I don't want to say I'm lazy. I want to say I'm efficient. But what I will offer you, Annie Mo 34, is that the other people aren't in your brain. The other people are just the hands. You have to make the decision. You have to make the decision in your head about what is to be done with it before you can tell them what needs to be done with it. Now, having somebody come clean your house is a different thing than organizing, because you need to make the decisions in your head. And when you do that, yeah, sure, if you then can make the decisions and then sit there and hire somebody to say, that goes there, and donate this and move this here and do that there, they can't make the decisions for you. All you can do is make the decisions for you. But then after you do that, then it could be easy for you to pay people that are just hands to move stuff from one place to another, right? Living in a van down by the river. I love it. Okay, so I just realized, because I could talk about this stuff for days, and I love helping people with what they struggle with. My name is Beth. I call myself the Decluttering Life Coach, because it's not about just the decluttering. It's about making space in your life for what's important to you. Making space in your home so you're not dragged down by your stuff, so you feel light so you can go off and live your life. And that's why I showed up like an hour and 45 minutes ago to talk to my phone and to meet up with people. And this is what I'm doing. But I also have, and this is another thing I want to lovingly share with you guys about talking about boundaries, is when you have stuff in your life that is coming in that you don't particularly like, you are allowing stuff into your life, and you have made the decision, or somebody else has made the decision. What I want to offer is that you can stand up for yourself in a loving way and say, yeah, you know what? Thank you, but no, I don't want that. Or you'll accept a gift and you'll love it on it for a while, but can get rid of it. I say boundaries because I'm realizing that I could easily show up and talk about this 24 hours and always hoping that I'm helping the next person. But if I do that, then I get exhausted and I run out of steam and I become resentful. So I have practiced saying, hey, it's cool. I will show up for this amount of time and I will help the people I can. And then I hope that they'll share the word. But then I will get off of TikTok and I will remind myself that I want to take a morning walk, that I have a coaching session soon that I want to make sure that I'm present for my client, that I do the things that fill my tank up so that tomorrow I can show up again early in the morning and do this. And if you're just signing on, yeah, see, user whatever said I paid somebody to organize and declutter, it's still making the decisions. Like if I was in your house, and here's what I want to offer to you. If you think that decluttering coaching on Zoom does not work, all I really would do if I was in your house and be like, so, hey, what's this? What's the story behind it? Do you want to keep it or not? We could do the same thing on Zoom. Seriously. I'm glad I helped you today. What I'll offer to people that were just joining or have been on for a while is, yes, this week I'm showing up at different times for TikTok Lives because I found it really helpful to me to reach out to people and help them. I hope I'm helping you. And if I am, please like my page. Please spread the word to people that are cluttered. If they are not on TikTok, I know not everybody is, but I have found that it's most fun for me to show up on TikTok is I have content. I show up on Instagram and I show up on Facebook. I have a website. I just started uploading videos to YouTube. So I try to put my word out there to where people are. So like next week, for example, I am not going to show up every day doing a TikTok live because I am traveling. And I want to be able to fully enjoy my travel without feeling obligated to be nagging myself. I should probably show up for other people. No, I have boundaries. You should have boundaries too. Thank you for thinking I'm a gem. I think I'm pretty okay. And it's taken me decades to say that. But what I will offer is this. If next week when I'm not on and you want a motivator like this in your morning, I have figured out how to download these TikTok lives and put them onto the YouTube page. So next week, if I'm not around, my information and the way I explain things, you can just put one of the YouTube videos on, and you don't even need to look at it. I never change. I sit here, I talk, I move my hands. It's not about me looking at me on the screen. Put down the screen and then hear my words while you're out decluttering. Okay? Awesome. Look at Grandma Grateful just said, thank you, Beth. Got my fridge cleaned out, laundry folded, and picked up trash around the house. I love to hear it. A little dopamine rush, a little check mark, stuff like that. Thank you, everybody who's been tuning in. Please share the word. Please allow me to help you in the way that feels right to you right now. Know that my best and my favorite way is always the one-on-one coaching on Zoom for a 10-week session, 1 hour a week on Zoom. We meet. We talk about nothing about everything about you, about where you want to go, what's important to you, how you can get there. It's not about me. It's not about anybody else but you. Okay, so how cool would that be to have somebody as your co-pilot? And even when I'm not, I will leave you with this, is the way I talk today to you on the internet with love and compassion in my heart is how I have late in life, but better late than never, learned to talk to myself internally all the time. I picture myself in a car with my hands on the steering wheel, and when I'm stuck and feeling unhappy, I realize that my thoughts are coming from backseat drivers and I'm not moving in the direction I want. But what I feel really motivating is to tap into that other voice in my head, that co-pilot voice, that voice that maybe I've been to you today saying, you can do this, it can be fun, you're worth it going towards the place you want to go. And I have practiced learning, and I show up every day reminding myself to speak to myself as like if I was trying to encourage my best friend to just go for what she wants. I'm doing this for you and I don't even know you, but do it for yourself. When you can internalize those words that encourage you to take action towards where you want to go to, that's where the magic happens, okay? And I will offer this, you're worth it. You, no matter what age you are, old, young, in between, age is just a number, but you can decide today that you're going to start, this could be today, and you decide today I'm going to do something incrementally, one of these little tiny little dotted lines to move closer to the life you want to look and feel like, okay? As I said, if you know people who are cluttered that might be interested in what I offer, I try to be in all the places that people are. I try to make it easy to connect up with me. I try not to be snobby or, whatever. I show up who I am because this is how I do my best work with the world. Because if I connect up with the right people, then it becomes just this lovely, fun dance of, coaching, and we just have fun. And thank you, Rhonda. I'm glad I motivated you so much. Speaking of motivation, it is Valentine's Day, and I just heard my husband coughing. I have a little card I want to give him, so I'm going to do that. I hope you all have good Valentine's Day, and I will leave with this. Love yourself. All you need is love. When you realize that love is in your heart and you love yourself enough to move towards the direction of the dream you will love, it's going to be a game changer. Fear is in the back seat. Be aware of the fear, but let yourself be motivated by love instead of fear, and it's a game changer, okay? I'm going to go, there we go. Oh. And thank you, everybody, for all your help, for all your input. I look forward to seeing you in the future. Tomorrow I am going to do another one of these TikTok lives. There's something pinned on my page that tells me when it is. I don't even remember, but I will find it out, okay? And I'll see you tomorrow, all right? Bye. Bye. There we go. Okay, there we go. Wait. Come on. There we go. Okay. See ya.